Okay, now we are ready to check out the actual website critique memo. Wow, well, as you can see, this group really does do a good job with their cohesive intros. Here again, the main intro does a great job of forecasting the major sections. You can see it starting right here, homepage, homepage, academics, academics. And at this point, I pretty much trust them that the next one will be current students, faculty, and staff. And actually, I looked ahead at this one, and then there's the last one's general recommendations down here. Everything is still in the order that the headings appear in the memo, or at least it appears to be at this point, and so boom, you have instant, complete cohesion. We scroll down through the first section here, the homepage section, you will notice that the group went officially also with the pure cohesive forecast technique in all of the critique memo's first level section intros too, unlike the cover memo. So here's the first level section intro, which introduces the second level sections, okay, or subsections. And you see here they're going with the full cohesive method of using the exact heading terms in the order they appear. Okay. You might also notice that here they're using bold and everything, and up here they're using bullets. Both are completely acceptable as we discussed. Of course, these sections are more involved than the ones in the cover memo were, as the entire document is much more involved and longer. They probably didn't even get close to that point of diminishing returns that we were discussing with this particular document. Once we get to the second page of this document, you will notice that these critiques will require you to incorporate visuals in order to reinforce and to explain what it is you are pointing out or discussing about the pages you evaluate. Most of these visuals will be screenshots or screen saves, like the comparison contrast visuals that work here in the uniformity with other Penn State sites subsection. Remember, we discussed how to capture and insert these images into your Word documents via the print screen button and then paste when on a PC, and or with the Apple key plus Shift plus 3, or the Apple key plus Shift plus 4 and then paste when using a Mac. These images also appear to have been edited somewhat, most likely right in Word itself, and we can check into that a little later. A couple things to point out here, though, before moving on. The first is to notice that the images, these in particular, are introduced themselves or prefaced by text, and in this case it's right above the image. Next, the image is also followed by, yes, a textual analysis of the image, or what I like to call a textual follow-up analysis. The main point I want to make here is that images and text can work separately, but they work best when they are fully interacting to create meaning in conjunction together. Just as the alarm bell should go off in your mind if you see two headings bumped up against one another without any textual matter in between them, you should get a similar alarm if you see a visual thrown into a document without any direct connection with the text, and or with text directly related to it that leads into it and announces the visual, and then text that follows it up with full analysis and an explanation of how everything fits together. I often use the same type of explanation to describe the incorporation of outside source material into a rhetorical argument in my freshman composition classes. And if you have learned to recognize to embed your outside source quotes and paraphrases inside your own analysis, by encapsulating it and fully integrating it within your own argument. That is, not allowing the source to speak for you, but using the source to reinforce what you have to say. It might help you think of the incorporation of images as working in conjunction with the text through the same sort of lens. So just as if you see a quote at the end of a paragraph, that doesn't necessarily mean it is not going to be able to stay that way. It should just raise the alarm bells that you should check it out to make sure it is a valid way and it's justified. Next, this memo takes the design technique of chunking to a bit of an extreme at times, but it is good to draw your attention to the way this group has used chunking, spacing, and line breaks in this memo to package a fairly high volume of diverse info into a more readable and usable form for the reader. If we would take this text out of Word and place it into a web page column, for example, it would work fairly well without too much further modification because of the application of chunking through spacing, line breaks, and so on. Okay. In the next section, we get more of the same cohesive devices. You see here we have the bold, providing excellence of our evidence of our academic excellence. Okay, and you can see it goes on. And I must say that this group does a great job with them through the whole document. We can also see that, similar to the critique of the first page, the evaluation of this page includes commentary and both content and rhetorical design issues the group examined. Here, they recommend providing more evidence of Penn State Harrisburg's academic excellence to enhance our ethos or character or reputation, etc. But they also consider the site's academics webpage from a visual and consumer perspective. They recommend adding visual appeal to the page to help draw the end user into the site. And they also discuss consistency. Okay. Once again, if we scroll down through here and resize this, we see that they utilize screenshot visuals to compare Penn State Harrisburg's relatively barren academics page. It's the one there on the top, which is completely void of visuals and only has links, like those on the UP page, which is completely void of the visuals, like those on the UP page, which is the bottom image here. The visual contrast here is quite striking, and the group does a great job of placing it right in front of the reader and the client. The group ends the academic page section with a discussion regarding the consistency of academic pages within the entire campus site and notes the disjointed feel of the site as a whole because of the vast differences visitors are sure to experience if they venture even a little ways through the academic department pages through the links present on the academics page. But before we move on,